to start off by thanking everybody for being here this evening. It means a lot to me and the rest of the victims that are still struggling today. If we were able to utilize a program like the one we're here for today, maybe our lives would be on the track that we only dreamed of. Before I start my story, I wanted to share some articles that I just seen. In the Philippines, a businessman was charged with trafficking a 13-year-old minor, child pornography, and prostitution. According to the report, the man engaged in sexual acts with the minor at a motel room numerous times. The victim met this man through a friend. In all, there were over 20 pictures of young girls, different girls, in his digital camera. In Nigeria, immigration officers rescued 4 trafficking victims and arrested 5 suspects. The victims' ages ranged from 12 to 17, and according to the report, the suspects brought children from Togo and forced them into labor in Nigeria. One suspect allegedly trafficked more than 40 children in the month of February alone. I don't know even how those children must feel. Is it the same as it was for me? That's something I will never know, but I can try to understand. Though it's hard to read of other cases and fear that other children are experiencing this, yet I open my eyes to the reality. It's everywhere, even right here in the United States. In Wisconsin, 5 people were arrested and 3 people were charged with running a child prostitution ring in Wild South. 3 teenagers were involved in the crime. This business was facilitated to run on Backpage, which was mentioned earlier, a site very similar to Craigslist. I know how manipulative and how dangerous these people are, but even in Utah, a leading anti-human trafficking organization ceases its service to assist trafficking victims after the staff received numerous threats on their safety. Fortunately, the victims are now receiving help from the organization, and they will be transferred to a different transition house. Meanwhile, police said that these threats must be taken seriously, even though they were not so specific and very generalized. All in all, those were all reported on March 29th, 2011. One day. Think, in Utah, that's our neighboring state. It happens here in Colorado. Your neighbors, their daughters, sons, friends, peers, the list goes on and on. Now, before I start my story, I want to apologize if I'm unable to finish. These memories have barely been uncovered. It goes back many years, approximately 7. I was a runaway, aimlessly wandering. I crossed paths with a man driving a white Cadillac named Big Black. Beyond small talk, he offered an opportunity of making easy money. I was cold, tired, hungry, and lost. Anything helped. I was 13, maybe 14 years old. There's no way I looked a day over 15. He knew it, but the proposition was for me to solicit services, return with the money, and give him every penny I made. He promised I would be taken care of. I didn't turn down the offer. Anything was better than sleeping in alleys behind dumpsters, begging for food, change, and stealing clothes. I would walk about 8 hours a day, and any time I got money, I was to meet up with him before I did anything, so he knew how much I was charging. There was even times that he would search me because I didn't get as much as he told me to. Not long after that, starting in this lifestyle, I fell into a crack addiction. I started keeping money for myself and started venturing off on my own. I don't remember much after him. I just remember he beat the living bejeebers out of me and raped me, repeating, if I was ever going to give it to anybody for free, it was him. I ran away from him just like I ran away from home. The streets were my home, and I knew it wasn't safe, but I wasn't afraid. Months went by. I was off and on with different pimps, but I wanted out, so I ventured into the world of smoking other people's drugs and stealing to eat, only sleeping with someone for somewhere, only if I had to. Many times I found myself too high to even sit down. So without having to sleep, I didn't have to worry much about somewhere to go.